And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to Jump into Crypto, episode 1229. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, and I'm King, here to bridge the community here to bridge the gap between the crypto community every day, Monday through Friday, most days at 10ish. Today's top story, I was over here trying to get some stuff together in the background. Bears wreck Bitcoin ETFC runner-up record day with $887 million in inflows. SEC to close regional office after judge dismisses debt box case. FTX reaches $200 million settlement with IRS on tax bill. Solana emerges as an institutional favorite following PayPal USD launch, and more. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at today's prices to see what's going on in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And nothing but amazing. That's right. We don't hear the talk of the town today. I guess Bitcoin is no longer dead. Once again, for the 100th time, Bitcoin is coming in steaming hot at $70,556. That's actually only 0.96% up on the 24-hour clock. But if you've been paying attention, you know it did hit 71,000 and some change already last night, early this morning. Ethereum's at $3,791, up 0.22%. Number 5, Solana at $172.38, up 3.72%. Number 8, Dogecoin at 16 cents, up 1.78%. Toncoin at number 9 at $7.29, almost up a full buck, up 4.95%. And Cardano at number 10 at 45 cent, up 0.21%. Trending tokens are not coin, of course. That has been pumping, I think, like 300% in the last few weeks or something. Gorilla and Dog Runes. And recently added are Jassy Pollock, Macho, and Albert. Fear Ingredients has pumped up again to a 65, so we're up 5 more. Ethereum dominance has actually slipped with Bitcoin pumping again at 17.4% and Bitcoin dominance at 53.2%. So those are your prices there on the day. And of course, let me go ahead and give some quick shout outs to everybody. I see everybody rolling up in. What's going on, Chloe Dior, Asti B, Akibalan, Memories with Mike, William Justice, Hyben 17, Satoshi Slim. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. The pod is updated from the last show as well. Will this one be right after? But let's just go ahead and get into it. Not a lot of big news today, so a lot of news is just to the point. The market is in great shape. We're still waiting on an Ethereum ETF. All signs says it's going to happen. Bitcoin ETFs are clearly still pumping, and I mean we're not even we are officially half year done. And yeah, I mean, we saw Bitcoin ETFs have the ability to pump the price and sustain it at and around 68 to 72,000. So again, all is well in the world of crypto. But let's go ahead and jump into these stories real quick so I can update you on the day and get you about your business. Bitcoin ETFC's runner-up record day with $887 million inflows. This is the second or third time we've seen this type of Bitcoin ETF inflow record. So I think it's safe to say, after seeing this and seeing what the market does, we can, for the most part, trend and chart from a fundamental point. Whatever happens with the inflows, the ETFs, when we see an aggressive amount, a all-time high of inflows, we can expect the price of Bitcoin to pump, 2 to 3% or whatever. And then on the flip side, we see those inflows stop, as we saw, I think BlackRock did for those 4 days, and we saw the price of Bitcoin drop. I think we can expect to see that. And this is good for those people who are out there trading, taking leverage, doing margin trades and all that good stuff, because these are easy layups for you in the market. The moment you see, hey, this is that 6-month, 9-month mark, whatever, we got to shut down Bitcoin ETFs for 3 or 4 days while we get some back end stuff together, you can pretty much short the market within like 24 to 48 hours and get your nice little comeuppance. And then on the flip side, the moment you start to see these records pumping in from the day before, if you're following that type of thing, you can kind of assume that, hey, the market's going to respond to this favorably within the next 16 to 20 hours, what we're seeing as well. So looks like Fidelity's Bitcoin fund led the pack this time with $387.7 million in net inflows on the U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF's second highest joint net inflow day, according to preliminary data. And kind of like I said, if you've noticed, the ping pong has been between BlackRock and Fidelity. Everyone else is getting swallowed. No diddler. They are just being consolidated by the market and their competition. And it will be only, for so much longer, I think we'll even see a lot of these competitors. But again, This is Bitcoin ETFs in the US seeing its second largest joint net inflow day of $886.6 million. And again, you got to remember, two things. First, only institutions can really do this. And second, I'm not even sure exactly how sustainable for how long it is. And we talked about this before, but they're essentially rolling money over, in my opinion. I don't believe they're getting new capital. They're getting new people who are calling them every day, Fidelity and BlackRock, saying, we want Bitcoin ETFs. I do not see that happening. What I do see happening is them already having portfolios and assets under management where some of the portfolios are already taking an aggressive stance on the traditional market. They may have already talked to some of those owners of that portfolio capital, whatever. Sometimes they haven't even talked to them, but I think they're essentially just convincing people or taking some of their assets under management slowly and just converting them to Bitcoin ETFs. So if you're with BlackRock, you're getting exposed to Bitcoin ETFs if you have an aggressive portfolio, whether you want to or not. Same with Fidelity. So my thing is, when you're seeing numbers like this is them having their already assets under management and just transferring. They're pivoting, right? They're redistributing, they're rebalancing their already had capital. It's the same thing the United States does with its debt to asset ratio. So all they're doing is rebalancing the money they already have. So for example, BlackRock and Fidelity, let's say they have 300 million. I know these are like super conservative numbers, but I'm just saying, for example, they have $300 million in natural resources, or $300 million invested in steel or steel companies or whatever, right? And they say, all right, well, we see steel has slowed down to maybe only 2% gains in growth the last 5 to 7 years, but we see the crypto sector has exploded. So instead of putting all 300 million into steel or whatever, the natural resources, we're going to take 150 million of that and we're just going to shoot that over to a Bitcoin ETF. They're doing that essentially without asking the people, again, whose capital that is, if they've already been exposed to aggressive investments, or they're actually going back and speaking to the people saying, hey, we know you have the fireman's fund, the firefighters fund. Hey, we know you're doing the IRA with your company here, and we're managing it. All we want to do is expose 3% of this portfolio. We think it can have up to a 25 to 30% gain on entire portfolio. Most people, especially they've been keeping up with the news, they're going to take that bet. So I think that's how we're seeing these record inflow numbers happening. So my thing is, the moment that stops, the moment they reach that threshold of, they say, hey, we're going to do 3% of our total assets in the management portfolio, could happen a year or two from now. Doesn't mean it happens around the clock. But the moment they reach that threshold, I wonder, will they continue essentially doing the same thing and taking old money and just swapping it over to Bitcoin ETFs? Or will the narratives and the media push begin to where you're seeing commercials everywhere and like Bitcoin ETFs are the best thing you can do? Or, of course, the third option is, by then, another 3 to 6 months, will the Bitcoin ETF appetite be fed on an institutional level? And they start the same game, except now they're doing it with Ethereum ETFs and Solana ETFs. And we've started the dumpster diving of, hey, we know, what that Bitcoin ETF did, right? Well, this Floki Inoshima, something that no one has yet, this thing is going to do numbers. So we haven't even gotten down that path yet. I think that is, of course, where this path hits. But right now, like I said, as long as we keep continuing, we're seeing these numbers. But this to me is eerily similar to when Bcash launched. If you remember when Bitcoin Cash launched, oh man, to the Bcash puppets, literally that was the new Bitcoin. It was going to, what not even was going to take over, it did take over Bitcoin in their eyes. At the same time Bcash launched, there was an attack on the Bitcoin network, essentially where people were just trying to mess with it as far as its scaling goes, like essentially a DDoS attack where people were sending small transactions, $1 here, 50 cents there, $1 there, to the Bitcoin network to slow it down. So it had to handle those small transactions, not the big ones. And Bcash was launched at the same time saying, hey, we can handle all transactions. Look at Bitcoin. They can't handle any transactions. When the reality was, there wasn't nearly as much volume on the Bcash network at the same time. So yes, if you were trying to do similar transactions, they may have cleared, but that's because there was an intentional attempt to slow down Bitcoin and at the same time an attempt to bolster a new project. The same thing is happening with Bitcoin ETFs, okay, as Bcash. This is a new project on the block. They're trying to show you that every other investment is paltry compared to it. They want to show you that Bitcoin is continuing to pump. And the only way they can do it, I think they're noticing too, is like, oh shit, like Yeah, we made it pump because we put, $700 million into the market last week. There's only one way you're going to make it pump again. That's to put $800 to $900 million in the market this week, and so on until we finally reach that point of deflection where the price is just too high for them to keep doing that. There's not enough Bitcoin to keep doing that, or you see some type of black swan event, and we are headed that way, which is why even institutions, when the whole thing is, well, what's stopping a billionaire, somebody wealthy coming in and buying all the Bitcoin? It's like price and demand, supply and demand is what's stopping it. The price point. If someone were to come in and do that, as we're seeing institutions do, 600 million here, 700 million here, 800 million here, we're seeing the price reflect that, and they're going to keep buying a higher Bitcoin. And people, we only have a few more months at this rate of doing it with a Bitcoin under $100,000. I just want to make that super clear right now. We only have a few more months of doing that. By this time next year, before the great retracement is what I'll call it, you're going to be seeing Bitcoin at 120K, 125K, and people are going to go doing leverage trades with it. So one Bitcoin, essentially, if you're doing a 10X, you could be doing $1 million trade. You're going to have normal people. I want to make sure we all clear this. We'll have normal people doing $1 million trades, as well as institutions doing whatever they're doing. So it's definitely going to heat up. The market is great. But again, the big question is, can these institutions continue with these inflows? Is this old money inflowing that's causing the price to pump? Or is it new money? I know a lot of people say, hey, we don't care as long as that price is pumping. Yeah, but that's the big, that's how you get caught in the crazy dip, right? Is when you're like, we don't care as long as the price keeps pumping. And like I said, at the end of their next quarter, whatever, they're like, hey, we can't keep at this level redistributing funds from different portfolios at this level without being too heavy on crypto and Bitcoin. We have to stop. And then the day and the week that happens, they say, all right, we got to slow down. Let's do $500 million instead of $800 million. You will see that reflected in the price point. And the crazy thing about Bitcoin and crypto, of course, is if there's a slight dip, that psychological scarcity would kind of kick in, that FOMO kick in. And some people would say, holy shit, we're getting a 6 or 7% dip all because institutions stop. But to them, that's like, no, 7% dip in the market, it's time to go. All it takes is a few folks, is a 10%, 15. Now we're at a 20% dip from 71K. That is enough to scare out a lot of the noobs in the market for sure. And those noobs this time won't just be mom and pops, you and I's. There'll be banks, wealth institutions, and things like that. So that shakeup will be even crazier. And yeah, somebody said that's when you big shorted. That is when you big shorted for sure. Let me go to comments, see what's going on here. What's going on? Jake said, normal people doing $1 million trades is insane. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. Come on. Like, look, for some of y'all warriors, I ain't going to tell y'all business. I know the truth. Okay, Drakeo, I know the truth with some of you warriors. I've talked to you in person. I've seen you out. Hey, y'all done got some money. Hey, y'all done got some money throughout the years over here on old TGOC, okay? Some of you got some money. I know for a fact some of you warriors are playing with 100K, not like portfolio or this is my savings. I know some of you are playing with that. So yes, like for the people who are playing with it and they're just as degens, and maybe I'm a man in the mirror. I don't know, okay? But yeah, there will definitely be $1 million to $2 million trades happening for normal people. Now, if they win or not, right? Because you got to remember the whole landscape's going to change. Will exchanges change the way that they do their phishing? And what I mean by phishing is the way exchanges scam people and bet against the traders, and they already have things pre-coded to where, hey, you want to do $1 million trade on my exchange? Win or loss of the exchange wants 20-30% of that. Like, will they allow the normal person to get away with $1 million, $2 million trades in mass? Will we see this in mass? I don't know. But of course, as it stands right now, if you try to go $1 mil, $2 mil on some exchanges, it's like going to casino and just you put half your money on red, you put the other half on black on a roulette table, and then it ends up landing on green. Like, that is what the exchanges are at times. If you're dealing with a lot of capital, they're going to make sure they get that back. Why? Because they know the average person's recourse is very little to nil. So oftentimes that's how that game goes. Uncle Reno said, happy Wednesday. If a 100x trade seems too good to be true, it usually is. There you go. You know how it is. But hey, look, you always get that one person in the news though who's going to wave that flag, was like, yeah, man, I put 50K on whatever, and I'm up 25 million, and that will be enough to send the masses to the graveyard on that type of trade. Antonio, shout out to Antonio from the UK. Of course, this is your hoodie. This is why I started the show late. I was trying to show my B. The microphone was hiding my B. But shout out to Antonio. This is one of his amazing hoodies. Had to wear that today. So comfortable. You already know. The great retracement. The great retracement to Keybline is my thought. Well, it's just a normal retracement, which is when the market dips. So as we've seen Bitcoin essentially every 4 years, we'll get a crazy peak where we hit an all-time high, and then the market has to retrace. Like, it can't keep going up forever. Like, it has to dip at some point. I'm calling the next one the great retracement because I think it will be the biggest dip, not only that we'll see in Bitcoin and crypto, but we'll see on the planet in any markets. Right now, Bitcoin's at 71,000. It's on track. I think a lot of people believe to easily go past 100K by next year. I'm thinking 120 to 150,000. Once it hits that all-time high, at some point, let's go crazy. Let's say it goes to 200,000. Okay, even if it goes to 200,000, the market has to cool off. It has to calm down. Like, there's not enough money in the world to keep just buy every day, especially when people aren't using Bitcoin like that. It's just being used as a store of value. So eventually somebody's going to sell, right? Eventually there will be people to say, you know what? I'm up $100 million. I don't need no more. I am selling everything. I'm buying my houses and my boats and my cars and my triple D woman over here. Okay, like there will be people to do that, and once enough of them do that, we're going to see that price dip. Once it starts to dip a little bit, it's going to scare other people. They're going to sell theirs because they don't want to be the ones holding $150,000 bag when it goes back down to 90,000. Right? They're like, oh, I want some profit out of this thing too. So I think that'll be the great retracement. We'll see essentially the price go from 150,000 to 200,000 with a 60% dip. Let's say we go, which is normal. We get a 40 to 60% dip, and we see it go from 200K down to 110,000 or 90,000 or 80,000. I'm calling that the great retracement. I think we'll have at least one really big one of those before 500K, since we're talking to those numbers now. I mean, you'll get another one, of course, around 300, 500K. But I think we'll get the first big one here in the next year or so. It's going to go crazy. We'll get that $150,000 Bitcoin, and then like we'll just have a Monday morning where it's just like, whoa, Bitcoin is at 90,000. What? And some of you are going to act insane. Watch, some of you are going to act like you lost your damn mind. But it'll just be a normal day in Bitcoin. Let's see. Satoshi Slim, I agree. Said that Bitcoin Lambo culture shifted. Next up is yacht life. I agree. A lot of people are going for the yachts now. I think Maccabee showed everyone the way to live on the run was on the water. If you're going to be on the run, go international, become a pirate. Don't be on the run using the government roads and shit. You can't use the state freeway on the run. You got to get you a super yacht. You got to hit them waters, get you some rifles, all right? Get you some pirates. Do it the real way. Okay, I will check the DM for sure, Jake. So, and I've actually been catching up on DMs this past few days. A lot of people, I got spammed a few times for a lot of people. So I kind of threw my arms up on some of the private messages in Twitter because there's so many bots hitting me up, and so many of them actually seem human. This is actually an issue I have for a couple years now when it comes to if you hit me up on LinkedIn, I probably haven't responded, Twitter, and even Discord on the private side, because there are so many bots who seem like real people that are actually bots hitting me up. It's insane. But I'm going through, sifting through those. It's a never-ending job. It is what it is until I get some software in here that can do it. All right. Jake said use case is store of value. Worst case is World War III. Nobody's going to want fiat in banks. Best case. That's true. Let's not get to talking if a big war breaks out. Let me be clear. A big war where the majority of humans care about all the humans dying. Let me be clear about that. Yeah, if a big war breaks out where humans that a lot of the outspoken humans care about start to die, then I agree. You might see some shakeup in the fiat system, but on the flip side, you got to remember war always brings money, is good for business. So we say that, but honestly, if a war were to start, we could see the stock market and the dollar essentially pump, as well as the crypto market. I think it'll be the same thing we saw during COVID. The initial onset would shake everything, right? Maybe Bitcoin would stay stay running sideways, 5% gain or dip, nothing crazy. The traditional market will have an initial crazy dip. We're going to war, is a big war happening, something scary. And then I think within a week or two, 3 weeks, we'll see both markets recover. Bitcoin will pump way beyond an all-time high or start to go toward that. And then on the traditional side, again, you got, hey, the factories is up factoring again. So I don't think that will stop it. Only people who are millionaires are Andreessen Horowitz investors, but suppose they have gardeners. No, I will say there's definitely some Solana millionaires out there. Like there's a lot of smart people in crypto too. Let's be clear about that. There are a lot of people in crypto who have made their money, saw the regulatory landscape, and said, I ain't made no money. Like nothing's happened. Nothing. And I mean, what is making money in crypto really? Let's say you get 200 to 500, $500,000 windfall. Are you exiting the market? Because if you stay in it, there's a chance that could dip, things could happen, you could lose it. Even when you do exit the market, I mean, if you're in California, you're talking about a down payment on a house and you back to zero again. Like you're talking about a new car, some gas, some insurance, and rent for the year, and you're literally back to zero almost. I know it sounds crazy, but that's California for you. So yeah, I mean, depending on who you're talking to and how you're talking, does this person who got 300,000 win from the market, do they have children? Are those kids in private school? Do they have health issues? Like what? That 300K will vanish by moose. I get it. True. I have memories, Mike. I'm with you. For some people, 20K, it could change and everything, but I'm telling you, for a lot of other people, they get that windfall, and is literally not enough because they're looking at this as a long-term move, not necessarily as like a short-term or even as a short-term play or as an investment. They're looking at it as a long-term lottery play. Like I'm gonna win it right now. So I'm with it. Yeah. See, someone else, 100K will be pushing retirement. Satoshi Sim said more than $500,000, lose 400K, rinse, repeat with 100K. Hey, it sounds good, but I'll tell you this: there's been people who've traded in our Discord. It was people who was trading 40, 50K, 60K in there who made some more money and lost some on some trades too. So it's definitely happened in this space. Because again, you say that, but it's like, all right, you get your 10K, you go about your business, and it's like, I probably want to invest some of that in the Bitcoin and crypto market. And it's like, oh, and the game begins for some people. All right. But my point is there's definitely people who, with these type of situations, they've made their money and they haven't said anything. All right. They either kept it to themselves or they kept the money in the market. But there's definitely a lot of people who've done something and haven't said anything. All right. Speaking of Solana, let's go ahead and talk about Solana emerges as an institutional favorite following PayPal USD launch. Solana could emerge as a leading blockchain for payment institutions. Is a Solana-based ETF next? I would say yes. We talked about this. The headlines in the title, or excuse me, the story is in the headline for the most part. The story is in the title. I won't go too much into detail, but essentially, PayPal USD has launched on Solana. It is official. Solana institutions make sense. Industry leaders like PayPal, Stripe, and Visa must future-proof their offerings. The best way to do that is by meeting their most forward-thinking users on the platforms they're adopting. You'll likely see many more institutional moments for Solana in the coming years. So my thing is this: on May 28th, PayPal expanded its PayPal USD stablecoin to the Solana network, marking its first move to a blockchain beyond the Ethereum ecosystem. The integration will enable Solana users to conduct inexpensive transactions using PayPal USD on the network, aiming to broaden the stablecoin's utility for everyday purposes. So, layman terms for the new people, because I know we got some new folks, and welcome to the show. Layman terms is this. You got PayPal, right? You already know what PayPal is. All Solana is a Bitcoin, Ethereum. If you heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum is just another cryptocurrency that's trying to take over and say, hey, you can do all your payments through us one day. You don't need to use your bank or nothing. You can use Solana. Essentially, it's Apple Pay. So only thing that's happened right now is PayPal created a coin, and they said, hey, our coin is now available on Apple Pay, which is, in this case, Solana. That is all that's happened. PayPal is saying, hey, we have this PayPal coin that most of you don't use anyway, because why would you? No one's using it because there's no reason to use it. There's competitor coins like Tether, other stable coins out there. Was it True USD? I'm not even sure they're still in business, but there's other stable coins out there, of course. But you have PayPal saying, hey, we have ours. this stable coin can allow you to move your money from different networks. And by the way, if you're using PayPal, you are absolutely insane if you don't think there's going to be a crazy transaction fee. Right now, using PayPal networks, I think the transaction fee is 3.9%. That is right. If someone gives you money, they're going to take 3.9% out of it. That's absolutely insane. And that's not even including transferring it to your bank, which is like another 2 or 3%. So literally, they're giving 7% off of every transaction you get that you try to send to your bank. I want to thank PayPal and the Biden administration for this like absolute nonsense when it comes to these type of transactions. But yes, this is happening here in PayPal. So they're saying, hey, with our private little token that will keep your money on across all our networks, we've expanded this to Solana. Once again, the essential, a brand new Apple Pay that people are kind of starting to use, but not really. So to me, in the short run, this is a non-starter. I think PayPal, Stripe, and some of those other companies mentioned learned their lesson already in regards to coming to the party late, right? Even to the day, they're still all kind of anti-Bitcoin because they're not going crazy on it. And I understand why they don't make that much money on it. If you're looking for ways to make money. So you can do that with crypto, but not Bitcoin specific for the most part. So I understand the play here, but I think the biggest thing is like, hey, we're late to the party on Bitcoin. Really, Ethereum, we couldn't figure out gas fees, blah, blah, blah. All right, here's the next big one. Let's jump on it. I think they'll do that for every next big one. And by the way, it makes sense. This is the most frustrating thing when I see the PayPals and stuff of the world. I understand why they're doing it more than less likely because of regulation. But as a business, why would you not accept anything people had to offer, especially when you can codify it as real money? It's not like they're coming up to you with seashells and Cadillac converters and copper and shit and trying to sell it to you. Some old Gucci shoes at a flea market. That's a real story for all the B&E people. That's not happening. Okay, there's no flocking going on. All right, for my savages, you know what I'm talking about. But seriously, like this isn't happening. This is an actual. These are digital products where you can instantly transfer them to fiat or a crypto of your choice. So when people say, I want to pay you in Floki, Eno, whatever, if people want to pay you in PayPal stablecoin, if people want to use Solana network, if they want to use Tron network, all of these things right now work. So there is no reason for a company like PayPal, a digital company, to say we're not going to accept it or we're not going to partner or offer, with the exception of pure laziness. They are I want to say maybe not laziness, but maybe agnostic. They don't have the people who know what to do, who know how to code these things and make these partnerships happen. But as far as the ability, the technical ability, you're definitely able to do it. So yeah, there's no issues as far as doing it. I think they all should, and it only helps the business more because you're bringing more volume to the business. The people who say I'll only use Solana moving forward, I'll only use a stable coin for moving forward, I'll only use crypto, all you're doing is still bringing them into your fold. So I think this is a good thing. All right. Oh my goodness, I missed a story today. I had the story up and I know I announced it. This SEC story. I don't know how I accidentally clicked close of it. That was supposed to be the second one, but it's actually a great way to end the day. So I'm gonna read a couple of comments and then we're gonna talk about this lost the SEC. Hey, the SEC getting their ass beat, y'all. Now, seriously, as funny as it is, it's not funny because we as the citizens are actually paying for it. So that part isn't funny, but we will talk about the SEC here in a second. Let me look at a couple of comments. And Cario, Uncle Reno said, I bet you can get those Gucci slippers at the Alameda flea market. Look for the electric Panamera with pitching wedge sticking outside window. You are a fool. Speaking of which, I want to make sure this is broadcast far and wide because I hear all of a sudden it got real quiet. For all those smash and grab looters you're seeing in SoCal, you remember the 50 people robbing stores, 30 people robbing malls and all that? And I saw some of those YouTube comments. You know who they wanted to blame it on. Well, it turns out there is a wealthy couple out of San Francisco, it sounds like, who are allegedly hiring the groups to do all those smash and grabs. And it was like an $8 million operation. And some very wealthy, well-to-do, normal-looking folks of America were behind the whole operation in San Francisco. Of course, since then, not many people have talked about it. It didn't suit the narrative of who was doing all the thieving. But I just want to point that out. There was a rich couple in San Francisco who was behind all the damn thieving that's been going on in SoCal, and nobody talking about it no more. Too funny. Let's see, Michael Saylor and tax fraud. So I did see the story about Michael Saylor and tax fraud. The only reason I didn't talk about that story is because they're only trying to wrap it into crypto. I don't know. Hey, kind of shout out to Michael Saylor. I know some people are like the diddly do-gooders, Ned Flanders. They like, oh no, everybody has to pay. Everybody needs to pay the tax. It's like we shouldn't even be getting taxed like this, but whatever. Another story. But essentially, Michael Saylor had been ducking it. Allegedly, from what I read, it seemed like he had been ducking and dodging taxes in DC for the last decade. All right. So it wasn't just Bitcoin and crypto. It's just that he's been buying it the last few years. They made it like more of a story, which, by the way, makes a lot of sense of why he's been buying it now. He said, hey, I ain't listen, pay $40 million of taxes or pay $40 million to Bitcoin and keep it. This is such a hard decision in my life to make, right? So I think he saw the light on the wall, and that's kind of one of the reasons why he went toward Discord or toward, I was looking at the comments, toward Bitcoin. But a lot of that tax evasion had to do before he even started buying Bitcoin. So to me, it's like, all right, y'all just trying to kind of wrap this up in one because he's such a notable figure. But again, to me, it looked like it was just more regular tax evasion the last 10 years. Yeah, he's been buying crypto, whatever. They try to wrap it in. Of course, yes, Satoshi is not good for the overall narrative. It is not, but that's the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's what they try to to instill this fear that, hey, the Bitcoin and crypto people are bad, everything's bad. And it's like, nah, Michael Saylor was doing his thing before he entered the market. It just so happened that you can't keep making splashes about how much money you're making, and you owe Uncle Sam. Like, woo, you're not gonna owe me money and do cocaine in front of me. Come on, bro. What's going on here? This is disrespectful. He said he gave him more wealth with Bitcoin than fiat. Exactly. So that's the play he's going there. Let's see what else we got going on. I'm looking at some of these comments. Andreas and Howitz is the original investors in PayPal, and now they're pumping Solana. Oh, that is right. They're just doing business again with their old cronies 12 years later. There you have it. Andreas and Howitz, the investment capital fund who invested in PayPal, are also investing in Solana. So there's that partnership, people, right there. Boom. That's how it works. You know how it is. Every few years, reinvent yourself. Ashanti said, LOL, I know officers, an officer hiding as you come downhill. You already know how it go. What else do we have? Palo Alto. Anytime Solana in the news, they're pushing a narrative. You already know it. Solana is a VC project. Yep. So here's the thing with Solana being a VC project, you can pretty much guarantee the narrative is going to be there. The news stories, the marketing, like the marketing budget is there. All right, let's see. Last but not least, got to talk about this story. It made my teeth white today. This is an important story to share because, again, for all the Ned Flanders out there, you have to pay your taxes. The government said you have to do. Like, again, I strongly dislike. No, I hate when people say, "Well, it's the law," or "You have to do it." They said, like, who are the fucking theys? There I go with the rants and the profanity. I apologize. Who are the theys? Who are these days that created these laws, these man-made laws? Like, people, the law is only good as your brain says it. If you wake up one day and you say, F the world, I'm gonna do what I want to do, that is what your human body is going to do. That is the law of God. There is no law. Rosa Parks woke up one day and said, can't take this shit no more. Rosa said, I know the law says I'm going to defy the law. And from that, a lot spurred. Okay. So I hate seeing people keep saying the law says is the law. The law can be wrong. It is another human who looks just like you, who honestly, they probably aren't even as smart as you. They're just a better scammer. A lot of these people who are in these regulatory and political positions, they are great scammers. They know how to speak very well. I compare them to like Will and Jada Smith because they do this whole thing where they talk great. They play some music in the background and the words harmonicize, and you're just like, man, everything this person says is great. Let's vote for this person for president. They sound so confident. In reality, this is just how you trick people, okay? Like, it's a way to do speech. It's the same as like a musician, a rapper, an actor. Annotations with your words. If you know how to do it, you can like literally manipulate and siren an entire population, okay? I say all that to say I am tired of people telling me it is the law as if that makes it correct or right. To me, sometimes that says It sounds like something that someone, like, a lot of these laws were put in place to keep people down. It was to keep the scam going. So if it's a law that sounds like it's going to keep the scam going, I'm going to say something. I say all of that to say I'm not just talking shit. Apparently, the federal government agrees with King on this one. SEC to close regional office after judge dismisses debt box case. A judge ordered the United States Securities and Exchange Commission to pay $1.8 million following, quote, bad faith conduct, unquote, over a temporary restraining order to freeze debt box's assets. First and foremost, we got to give credit where credit is due. I can't always be critical of our government and not turn around and get a credit where credit is due. So with that being said, hold on really quick. Let me stop this screen. With that being said, I want to give the United States American government, federal government, a shout out and a hand clap. Checks and balances work sometimes. Checks and balances work. This is an example of a check and a balancing working. Okay, I said that all wrong. It's a checking and it's a balancing. The SEC said we're gonna check you on this, and the federal government said we're gonna balance your ass on this. You're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. I told you already what they're doing is treasonous. They're literally using American money to go after Americans. That is nothing American about it. To me, a lot of them should be up for treason. That's not just the SEC either. We want to clean the swamp. It's a lot of people we should be putting up for treason that has a position that is getting paid by public funds. But for right now, we're going to look at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, which will close one of its 11 regional offices after a federal judge ordered the regulator to pay roughly $1.8 million in attorney and receivership fees. Now, really quick, I want to say I did not do a deep dive on this, so I don't know if this is just an isolated case where this happened and they say, hey, we stopping this, we're closing it down, or if this office is a repeat offender. Because traditionally what I have seen in our government, and you're seeing this in a lot of blue states, it's hard to fire people, right? Like, you can't just fire people. You can't fire people in America no more. It's like what's the thing? Hey, I'm about to go on my little mini rant. What's the little trophy stars? They started giving out these trophies when I was like in middle school. I shook my head the first day I saw participation. Hey, you already know, if you was on any team with me, I might slap a participation trophy out your hand. We keep bullying alive on this side, all right? I'm not with the participation trophies. And I say that to say that with the participation trophies, it became harder to fire people. And when it became harder to essentially like just disband an entire office, a government office, right? So my first thought when I saw this is more than likely, like, to be fair, it probably wasn't just one incident. It was just one crypto incident. Now we got to disband the office. Now it could have been if the office is small enough. Let's say the office budget is only $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year, and you just costed the federal government $1.8 million. That could be enough of an impetus to say, oh, you're one and done. But usually you do see it happening, like, I don't know, most like when you see a government office close down or somebody gets fired by the government, it's usually like your third or fourth or fifth or 10th or 15th time type of deal. So without doing any due diligence, I will say it is possible that this is not the reason, right? It could be other reasons. But hey, I don't care. The way y'all just did Michael Saylor with the taxes in Bitcoin, we're going to do this the same way. If we went after the crypto company, you got shut down after. We're going to do it the same. Y'all want to conflate stories? Let's conflate them. So in the June 4th notice, right off the press, it's still hot. The SEC said it will close its Salt Lake regional office in 2024, just one of 11 regional offices in the country. Wow, that's big, actually. Just one of 11 regional offices in the country. I like, and this is the narrative right here. When shout out to the PR team, I get it. Just one. Now it's just one. Here's the thing, people. I'm going to show you the hypocrisy in that just one comment itself, and I'm not sure that came from the story editor of the actual of Cointelegraph or it came from the SEC. But when you're saying just one, you're trying to minimize it, and it wasn't a minimal office just a minute ago when it was only one of 11, right? Think about this. We only have maybe 12 now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have about 11 United States nuclear aircraft carriers. All of them very fucking important. You think we're just going to lose one carrier and be like, oh, we just lost one. We got 10 now. No, people, that is like a big deal. It holds 5,500 people, a whole air wing. We can pull up and go to war off of somebody's coast. Imagine somebody could pull up in front of your house and just fight with you for the next 3 or 4 years. And you can't, you just got to stay in your house and fight back. You can't go to the street, but they can come above your house, around your house. They can go inside your house and they just stay in the street to stay safe. That's what's going on with the carriers. So, but now you're going to tell me we have 11 regional SEC offices in the country, right? 11 were just important enough to go after these companies like DebtBox and try to sue them for a couple $1,000,000, right? You're important enough to do all that then. But the moment you get closed down, it's just one, guys. It's just one. This is what I mean. If you're gonna be a gang, just say you're a gang. Don't. Why are you? This is treasonous to me. You can't do this to your own citizens. You can't just a office that is being paid for by taxpayer money. Let's make sure we're clear. There's 11 of these things that are all being paid for by taxpayers, and one shut down, and now they're minimizing the shutdown. However, when they were enforcing shit and going after people, it wasn't a just one. When they went after DebtBox didn't say, "Oh, it's just one SEC office coming after us, guys. We're good to go." No, they took it serious. They had to go to court. It sounds like they spent almost $2 million going to court, which we brought up before. This is the SEC's way of essentially bankrupting, drowning out a company, using all his resources and time in order for it to go out of business, so it is no longer a competitor or a threat to whoever the SEC was representing, usually as of right now, other banks. But let's get into it. Oh man, oh man, oh man. The announcement came roughly a week after Judge Robert Shelby dismissed the SEC's civil lawsuit against digital licensing, the firm doing business as DebtBox. He also signed off on an order requiring the SEC to pay roughly $1 million for attorney fees and costs and $750,000 for receiver fees and costs. Once again, God, I mean, who's ever heard of DebtBox, right? And this is my point right here. Who has heard of DebtBox? So you're telling me when I'm going to go out on a limb and consider a mid-sized company at best, because we haven't even heard of them. Let's say I'll go crazy and give them $100 million worth, right? Off the top of my head, I want to say 30 to 50 if they only went for $2 million. I really want to go down to 14 to $12 million. But I'm going to go crazy and say they're worth $100 million, right? Let's go crazy. A mid-sized $100 million company was able to fight the SEC up off it, right? Pull his pants back up and buckle them up tighter, and then it got to swinging too. It ain't walk away. You thought, oh, what you just tried? You thought I was going to walk away? Hell no. You just tried to violate me. It's no walking away. No, I'm going to buckle up, and we about to get the business now. This is what you wanted, right? Let's do it. Shout out to DebtBox and their team for pulling their pants up, for turning around and fighting. You don't go run away. You don't go crying and think about it 2 weeks later or years later. No. You turn right around and you handle your business. And that's what they did. Shout out to DebtBox. God damn it. Hey, Binance can learn a thing or two. Binance out here paying $4.3 billion to the government just to go to jail and pay another $50 million. Dummy. You got FTX out here, billions of dollars under them, going to prison. Dummies. And these are all the people they say are the geniuses out there. Get the out of here. Shout out to DebtBox. This is the way it's supposed to be done. Now, could you imagine this, crypto people? Imagine if the entire market had been doing this from day one, at least my day one, from 2016. If you were to have Coinbase fight back, Binance fight back, Kraken fight back, BitMEX fight back, there is no way we would be seeing a regulatory environment like this. We wouldn't be talking Bitcoin and crypto taxes, period. It would be a dictating. It would be, what do you all need to make this easier and flow better? Because you all are the ones with the capital who are trading and going on these platforms, these markets, and blah, blah, blah. The government and the states and the regulators, they need us because we have the actual capital. Their whole game plan is to take the capital away from us, which they're doing through taxes and transaction fees and telling you which wallets you can use and can't use. But shout out to DebtBox for saying we're not going to take it. Fucking finally. And this is what it looks like. Y'all so scared to fight some of these companies. This is what it looks like. Worst case scenario, you lose anyway, which you were going to lose to begin with since you were getting bullied and you have to pay the money. And the best case scenario is that you get a lucky hit to the temple, you scratch an eye, you pop that little throat muscle, and all of a sudden you in this fight. And that's what just happened right here. Deadbox took a wild swing. The SEC heard BlackRock call them about the Ethereum ETFs. They turned around for a second and caught them slipping, and they was stumbling and bumbling, and Deadbox got up on them, and now they all the way up on them. Now they up on them, and the judge is like, you know what? This is so bad, we have to throw in the towel. Y'all don't need to fight no more. This is it. I love you, Deontay. This is over, though. No, I was playing. But seriously, this is over. They threw in the towel for this SEC office. This fight is over for this SEC regional office that was based out of, what was this? Salt Lake City? Is that Chicago up there somewhere? It's over. The SEC filed its lawsuit against Deadbox in July of 2023. Woo! Shout out to Deadbox. 11 months. Look at that. They beat up their bully in 11 months, while Coinbase has been getting bullied now for about 4 to 5 years by the government. Deadbox beat them up in 11 months. That's what I'm talking about. They took 6 months to train. They got 2 months to book it, flew in for the fight, handled that light work, and they was outside. Alleging the firm perpetrated, and this is what the SEC said. Sounds familiar? The firm perpetrated an illegal $50 million crypto scheme. So I was right. I said maybe 100 million. The SEC is saying 50 million. So let's say 30. And that sounds about right for 2 million. You can say this same story with Reggie Middleton. You can say this same story with Binance. You can say the same story with BitMEX. You can say the same story with Charlie Shrim. You can say the same story now with Roger Ver, even though they're saying taxes. But it just doesn't stop. It is as simple as, oh, we didn't believe in crypto and Bitcoin and everything else. We didn't support it. And you all have been scammed before and you lost money on bad trades and everything else. But the moment you've done anything positive and you move this market forward, we're going to come for all your capital. Fuck out of here. Like, and some of y'all are okay with this. Oof. I'm glad it's sheep. I'm glad it's sheep because listen, the shitty things in life I don't want to do, some of the sheep have to do. So I'm glad it's sheep. Let me finish this story. Oh my God, it made me so excited. However, in March, Judge Shelby found the SEC engaged in bad faith conduct. What? Is that something I've been screaming on this channel now for years? And the worst part is not only are they engaging in bad faith conduct, but the people they're bullying are so puss that they literally just roll over and like people, once Binance gave them or is giving them $4.3 billion. They're like, let me just Google something. I gotta stop this. Hold on. How much money was raised in what's the year? 2020 presidential election. I'm gonna show you all something really quick. I don't even know this. We're gonna search this live. How much money was raised in the 2020 presidential race, right? Okay, most expensive ever. 2020 election cost $14.4 billion. The most expensive election, they're saying, cost $14.4 billion. You had a company that had a freaking percent of this. My man is paying the SEC or whoever 4.3, or excuse me, the Justice Department, I think, $4.3 billion, and he still went to prison and got a $50 million fine. And the last election for the entire country cost 14.4. Like, point a dummy out when you see one. Like, it is not, to me, it's nothing even law-abiding about this. This is that stupid shit y'all like to do. These professional athletes like to do. I actually hate seeing this. I think Steph Curry did it. To me, he should not have done it. But that's when you become a champion in your sport for multiple years. You made millions of dollars. You're on your way to becoming a billionaire. And you let a college convince you need to go back and get a degree. That is the dumbest shit I ever heard. Unless you're trying to be a doctor, a neurosurgeon, stock market, STEM, science, technology, engineering, you do not need to go back for that degree. How do you let a college pimp you off your money like that? And all you're doing is adding notoriety for that college. It's actually insane that people are like, I got to go back for a degree. Bro, you 300 million up. You won the game. You don't need to go back and play the third level, the fourth chapter. You already won the game. So I'm looking at this shit as the same thing. Bad faith. We already knew what the SEC's been doing. You got $4 or $5 billion. You want to give it to the government, even though the presidential elections are running the same amount. Judge Shelby said enough is enough. She found the SEC engaged, or he, excuse me, found the SEC engaged in bad faith conduct over a temporary restraining order to freeze debt box assets. Again, that temporary restraining order to freeze their assets is there to eliminate the competition. It's not to provide any type of protection to an American citizen. The judge ordered sanctions against the SEC, requiring the regulator to cover all attorney fees and costs arising from the I can't even say that word, arising from the ex parte relief. Improvidently. I never even heard or seen that word before. Looks like 2 SEC lawyers based at the Salt Lake Regional Office reportedly resigned over the handling of the case. No, see, this is what I'm saying. No, the taxpayers are paying for it. You don't get to resign and just move police officers. No, if it were up to me, you all should be sued for this. It's unclear whether the departure may have contributed to the significant attrition to which the commission referred. The SEC, quote, has decided to shut down the Salt Lake City office in direct response to the gross misuse of power based on the dismissal of the debt box case that, if revisited by the SEC, must be brought back before Judge Shelby, to ensure there is no misconduct or abuse of power. Shout out to Judge Shelby. For those who don't know what this means, essentially, the judge even went a step further, or the courts went a step further and said, if this case is brought back up, you're going to the same exact judge. You will not be playing that game to where you bring the case back up and go to another judge. Which, by the way, why are you playing that game with American citizens and you're supposed to be an American regulatory agency? Fucking treasonous. Thank you for taking the SEC to task. And people, this is how you fight a bully. I've been saying this on this channel so long. I'm not telling you to go burn buildings or I have said molasses and feather. I think that can be effective. But you can just take them to court. Fight them the same way they're fighting you. Write a 100-page report every 3 days and submit it to the courts. This is evidence. Don't stop. All right. Like, this is what a fight looks like when you're fighting for a multi-trillion-dollar market, which we are. Like, we're talking about Bitcoin going to $150,000. Banks don't want it. And you all think you're going to sit on the sideline, just watch it happen and get rich. No, we need active participants in this matrix right here. Okay. Active participants. The commission has ongoing enforcement actions against several crypto firms. Once again, I didn't even read this article, including Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, and Ripple. Oh, shout out to Ripple, another person who fought back and kept all their shit. I mean, just 2 to 3 right now. In fact, actually more. I want to just really quick. The people who fought and got what they want. BlackRock fought, got an ETF. Fucking Gary Gensler almost got fired. Ripple fought, Ripple still Ripple, and they actually might win a countersuit, get some of that money back as well. Debtbox fought, won. Coinbase didn't fight, lost, weren't allowed to do lending and other new things they wanted to launch, and they had to pay the SEC a fine after they went public, slap in the face. Binance lost $4.3 billion. And you go to prison with a $50 million fine. That is hilarious to me. Hey, shout out to our government. We know who to punk, though. I ain't even mad. Like, again, it's if I go to school, I see you get bullied, I stand up for you. I almost damn near try to fight the bully for you, but I can't really fight. I mean, I'm cool with him. He ain't done nothing to me. They been cool with me. They didn't give me a job. The bullies mess with me. I'm not. They looking at me, King. What have we not taken care of you? What have we done? We never talked nothing to you. We thought you was with us. I'm over here. I know, bro, but you can't be picking on people, man. These good people, bro. Just leave them alone. All right. And then I come back the next day and you just give them, like, you getting picked on again. I guess sheep on sheep and wolf on wolf. Okay. So I guess that's where we're at in this market. But shout out to Craig Wright. Even Craig Wright almost fully became Satoshi Nakamoto from fighting. And you have companies with capital that are laying down. They deserve everything they get. But the problem is that everything they get, they give to the entire market as a whole, which we're facing with. So that rant went way longer than it was supposed to. But I had to go there. Yeah, Library Coin. Shout out to rest in peace, Library Coin. And you know what? Library Coin actually tried to kind of fight back a little bit. I will say it sucks because so many people were capitulating to the government at the time. It looked weird for them to be a smaller company and fight back when you got like fucking Coinbase saying like, yes, the government, whatever you want. You can have all our money and our volume, our customer data. And then you got Library like, no, Coinbase, what are you doing? It's like, I get it. It's like the bigger person next to you is getting their ass kicked and then they're finishing them and pointing at you like, yo, you next. And you like, like, and you trying to fight, but it's like, I ain't even been taught to fight yet. So I'm not even mad at Library. They kind of tried to fight. If you remember, they're actually popping some hot shit on their Twitter account and stuff. So they didn't go down peacefully by any means, but it was just one of those things where they're like, guys, like, we were fighting. We don't have enough money to fight, and we tried to fight, and now we have less money, and this is all bad. So yeah, rest in peace to them. It does happen. Everybody, listen, everybody not gonna make it home from war, okay? Everybody not gonna make it home from war, okay? There will be some losses, but if the entire market were to be on this same track, there would be no loss for the market. But we got a lot of professionals, as I mentioned a long time ago, who have mitigated over to this space. They want to, or who have transferred over to the space from other professions. They want to mitigate their losses. They don't want to lose anything that they've made. They only want to win in our market. They don't truly appreciate it. They just want to come get rich quick and then leave. And with that, you get regulators, because every time those people learn their lessons and pay tuition, they go back crying to the government saying, well, I didn't know Binance is this, or I didn't know I couldn't do this. And this is this person's fault, when the reality is usually user error. All right. Other than that, that is the show for today. I'm going off of, I'm going to look at some really quick comments. I know I got some of y'all laughing, some crazy stuff I just said. Jake said, BNB just hit $700. I don't know. I might go to jail too. Bro, CZ made that back in a month. He did. But see, that's the problem. CZ can't go and say, well, that 4.3 billion, I just made 10 billion last month, so I don't care. And it's like, good for you, bad for the market, and the market is you. So again, you think you've won, but in 3 years, they be like, oh, no. You remember the 4.3 billion 3 years ago? Yeah, we won 22 billion. Now it's easy. Like, again, the bullying don't stop bullying. That's what people don't understand. Because I forgot about slapping you yesterday. This is what I do. I go around bullying people. I don't remember every time I pull somebody, I short somebody, I punch them up. I don't remember this. I just know I like to do it again the next day. And there you have the SEC as of now. Make sure you smash that like and share.